Right now, Belize City artist Katie Usher is closing off her latest exhibit at the Image Factory Art Foundation. It is called Wall, and on it, Usher has placed the names of those who have been murdered in 2015. After examining a collection of newspapers and news articles from the different media houses, Usher's tally is that 78 persons have been murdered since the beginning of the year up to yesterday. Her wall of names is meant to put into perspective just how many lives have been cut short in the last 6.5 months. She explained to us this afternoon that the idea for this exhibit was forged when she found out that a Mandela journalist, Kareem Clark, had been killed 8 days ago. She said that his tragic end was the catalyst to the wall.
We lost what I think in my mind was a very good Belizean, not just a good journalist, but a very good Belizean, because when he wrote his stories, he actually cared about the person. He gave these people personalities and families, like a backstory, not just a statistic. So what I decided to do from the newspapers I got from my mom, I wrote down I had a newspaper from the 24th of January all the way up to July the 12th. And I wrote down the names of all the deaths by violence. Unfortunately, many of the names here were featured in his stories. In fact, the last one that I had from him was from the July 5th, which is the Friday paper that is posted for Sunday, where he was asking, if you can see his name there, he was asking that, or just reporting that police want information on Ruben Leslie and Tariq Thompson. That was for the Sunday paper, and then unfortunately he passed on Monday.
Now talk to us about the importance of this wall and the emotional value of it.
Definitely, when we hear that it's 78 persons who have passed away, who have been murdered or died by extreme violence since January to July, it sounds like a lot. But when I actually had to put the names, and it filled up the whole space, because I actually started here in the middle, thinking I would use this, but I ended up having to use the entire wall. And that's chilling to see how big it is. My cousin is on this wall too. Michael Estelle was my cousin. He's on the wall, and that's kind of what this is saying, that it's not just my neighbor, it's also myself. We've all been touched by the violence, and I think it is high past time that we do something. And that was the purpose of this chair. When you're in school, you're made to sit down and you're made to look at the blackboard and see what's going on and take notes. But I think we're past that stage already. It's time for us to do something. And so what I'm doing also, I'm taking out from the mandalas that I had for this year, all the articles that Kareem Clark wrote. Let's not forget him or forget his incredible writing skill. He didn't only write about crime, he wrote about a lot of different things.
Did you, by any chance, get an opportunity to meet him, or was it always his print personality?
I never met him. Actually, unfortunately, I only saw him when the news came of his murder. I only knew him through his writings, and I was always an admirer of what he wrote and how he wrote.
Unfortunately, Usher's exhibit closed today since it's part of the Image Factory's Lab 2, in which each artist gets 24 hours for their project. You can find a link to a YouTube video of Usher reading out the names of all 78 persons on our 7 News website.